my computer screen.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the ACMA singer-songwriter interview series. Today I'm here with Bill Metz. If any of you have been in the area and at the ACMA in any event, you probably know Bill.
Hi.
So let's get to know Bill. So Bill, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Rhode Island. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island,
Yeah.
1951.
So now you're on another island.
Now I'm on another island, sitting here.
Yeah. And so how did music come into your life?
Well, I mean, it was always there in terms of listening. We did have the old big Victrola thing, you know, Motorola.
Oh, the big tube thing, right? Like a piece of furniture in the living room.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And my dad had I think probably 300, maybe. I'm not really sure how many, but he had a lot of albums and a wide variety. I'd say from Burl Ives to John Coltrane. Just a wide variety of music. And I listened to probably everything in it. I probably listened to every album. So I was exposed to a lot of music,
Right.
even though no one around me played. No, I mean, I'm the only one. I have 12 brothers and sisters, and I'm the only one who
12 brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'm the only one who plays an instrument at all.
Holy cow, that's a big family.
Yeah, it was a big family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was exposed to a lot of different kinds of music, and I love it all. You can take me from old Appalachian stomp music to, contemporary jazz, and I like it. I like it all. Opera, all of it.
It's kind of, as I remember, my parents had the same thing. They had those big tube consoles.
Yeah.
And my mom had a stack of 78s. They're like Hoagie Carmichael.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's definitely like
Nice.
there's this one song like Huggin' and Chalkin', which is now like completely politically incorrect, right?
Right.
About a guy whose girlfriend tipped the scales at 383, and he goes on about her. And then I was looking back, and that was like a top 10 hit.
Yeah.
It looked really obscure, but it was a huge hit. Hoagie Carmichael.
Hoagie Carmichael. It was a big name.
Yeah.
It was a big name.
So when did you get your first guitar?
Either late 1969 or early 70. I went to college, so it was early 1970. I went to college in 69, and in the spring of 70, I saw a young hippie chick sitting under a tree and fell in love with her. She was playing guitar.
Uh-huh.
Right, and I walked over and said, and I say fell in love, but I just went,
You were interested, yes, in a young man's way.
Exactly, right. So I went over and I said, I've always wanted to learn to play guitar, which was a big lie, and she said, look, I have two, why don't you take this one, I'll go get my other one, I'll give you a lesson. And then it was off to the races, and I think the next year I bought an old, it was an Yamaha FG75, first guitar I ever bought with my own money. I had gotten a couple of others during that time, but an FG75, and I had that for years.
It's a funny story because, I've done a lot of things for a pretty woman, but not any as constructive as learning how to play guitar.
Yeah.
Mostly there's something stupid.
I've done some of that too. But after she showed me the guitar, I lost interest in her completely. It was weird. I was obsessed for a long time.
Wow.
I played 8 hours a day, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
8 hours a day, and I'd at least, because I'd go to class. In between classes, I'd go to my room and play. And then and when everything was done, I was a wrestler. When everything was done, practice and all, I'd go back to my room, I'd close my door, and I'd play until I went to sleep and get up in the morning and do it again.
Wow. And so did you take lessons, or you just...
No, it was at the Fran, that was the woman I'm talking about. She gave me, she taught me some of the basics, and it's stuff that I still use, 50 years later. But she taught me some of the basics, and then in about 6 months, she couldn't teach me anymore. It wasn't like she was a professional guitar teacher or anything.
Right.
She knew chords and she knew some strums and some picking patterns, and then after that, it was folk music. It was the big folk music revival of the 60s,
right.
The 70s that I was dealing with, and so she, how she played, and it's how I play now. I just do. I like playing songs. You know, that's what I like.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of interesting because, like I say, you know, a lot of us are a creature of the time. We kind of were learning, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I was, with me was in fact that I transitioned from a drummer, and so my first things were like a whole lot of strumming, and not a lot of chord changes.
All right.
Yeah. But I think you told me once we were talking that you said that a guitar is essentially a percussion.
It
instrument.
is a percussion instrument.
Yeah.
It really is. That's when I teach kids ukulele, I have them drum out rhythms.
Yeah.
And say, this is what it sounds like when you're strumming.
I was like a documentary on James Brown, you know, like
Yeah.
And he was sitting there and he was talking to his band. And everybody, all the horns and all the different players. He goes, "You're a drummer. You're a drummer. You're a drummer."
I saw him a bunch of times in
Did you?
growing up. Yeah, James Brown. There's no describing the power, the energy.
I was going to say that.
You know, that's what was power and energy that you felt coming off the stage when he was up doing his thing.
Yeah.
His band. Jeez, amazing. Yeah.
Do you want to play a song?
I will if you'd like me to.
Of course, we got a guitar here.
Okay.
You know, this is the time and place.
Okay, so first thing that comes to mind is my. Well, you know what? I didn't bring my banjo. Well, I need to work on my guitar. I need my fretwork. You can see the reflection on the frets here.
You know, it's. I think it's a beautiful thing to wear something out.
Yeah.
I hate buying something and not using it.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll play my. Well, it's not my newest song because my newest song was actually written on a banjo. This is one I write so very. What's the word? Slowly. If I okay.
Methodically. So now, and tell us what you're doing here. What key are you going to be playing in?
I am going to be playing in the key of B, actually.
B. So you're playing in a G form.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't tune. I should have tuned before, but that's good. Okay, close enough. Yeah. So in the G form.
Well, if you really want to, I mean, you're really particular. You know, you tune whenever you put a capo on, which sounds like way too much work for me.
Yeah, but some guitars. This one here doesn't need that very often. When I put the capo on, it generally stays. But this is one I wrote during. You know, it was during one of the times during the COVID isolation thing.
Right.
Where I'm dealing with the social isolation, dealing with the whole pandemic, and watching the numbers of deaths and cases, and dealing with political and social things that were going on the news during the time, and just having great difficulty. And I just happened to be watching a documentary on how our American food is processed. So this was just a bad night, just a really bad night. And
I think it affected everybody's songwriting. I mean, I wrote a lot of nostalgic, melancholy kind of songs because that's what I was feeling.
Yeah, but this one here, when I got up from I said, "Oh, you got to turn this stuff off. Turn it off." I turned it all off and put on one of Bruce Gallant's songs. And I listened to it, and I'm telling you, Bill, after the song was over, I'm sitting up straight and smiling, and I'm feeling really good. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to write about that. I need to write about this." So I did. And this song is called "Why I Like It Here."
Oh,
Okay. It's all been said before. It's all being said again. There's times I wonder if 100 years from now, will it make a difference even then? I feel like the earth would be better off if all the humans would just disappear. Then I listen to a John Prine song and I remember why I like it here. I remember why I like it here. People dying from the water they've been drinking. Air's so foul, we can't catch a breath. While the man's tap dancing for the almighty dollar, he's asking us to waltz with death. Wind and rain blowing out a warning, earth signaling the end is near. Then I look up at the Florida sky, and I remember why I like it here. I remember why I like it here. Spent yesterday waiting for tomorrow, found everything the same today. Ain't nobody listening to nobody, and everybody's got so much to say. And there's a great big propaganda machine spitting out doubt and fear. Then I look into my children's eyes, I remember why I like it here. I remember why I like it here. Yes, I remember why I like it here.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Done. So, a beautiful song.
Thank you.
So, tell me about your guitar.
This is
That's a cedar top, is it?
That's a cedar top. I love cedar tops. I always have. They for me they sound the very best. They
They have a warmth to them.
and they age very well. You know, I really over the years you hear it coming to life. I really hear it coming to life. So I like cedar tops. Mahogany back and sides. Baden, T.J. Baden worked for Taylor for a whole bunch of years. I think 17 years. I think he wasn't in production. I think it was the vice president of sales for 17 years. But he eventually started his own company, and I think that what happened was he overpriced himself. You know, he just overpriced his guitars, put himself out of business in that way. But I'm not sure.
There's a lot of small luthiers out there making guitars. You know?
Yeah,
some
I
are
know.
good, and some are,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, there are a lot in this area. But a friend of mine gave me this. Gotta be, so it's certain what? How long have I been here? Since 2004. He probably gave it to me in 2005. So
Yeah.
been a while.
So, how did you get involved with the ACMA?
That was what happened was after moving down here, I bounced around looking for places to play. I ended up at Nita's Sweet Bean Cafe for the first time. That was when all of a sudden I started meeting musicians in the community. And Nita.
The place is famous.
Yes.
I went looking for that place when I moved here, and I think it had closed.
Yeah.
Because I found the address, I'm looking around, there was nothing there.
Yeah. But it was Nita Flores who was their place, and when the original women who put it together, Alice, Cindy, and Chris put it together. They asked Nita to be on the board,
Right?
and the name they chose was Americana Community Music Association. And Nita asked me to come onto the board, and she talked about we want to focus on the community piece.
Right.
And one of the things we came up with was, but that's how I got involved by Nita asking me to come and be on the board.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's a pretty, it is a community. I mean, that's been
Yes.
pretty successful, I think, looking at it.
yes,
And I think, I think I first met you in the singer-songwriter circle
Yeah.
back when you were hosting that.
yeah.
And
That was a while ago.
that was, yeah, and that was, honestly, back then I could not sing with the microphone. It just was so disorienting for me.
Uh-huh.
I tried once at an open mic, and I just kind of stood aside and just sang louder. But it did really great camaraderie there.
Yeah.
I mean, you if you ask for critique, you'll get critique.
Mhm.
Sometimes if you don't, but everybody's very positive, and
Yeah.
it's a great place. People understand that everyone's at a different spot,
Mm-hmm.
and you're welcome for what you are.
Yeah. I loved that about it. That was one of the cool. I did it for 4 years. 4 years of Sundays.
Yeah.
Doing the songwriter circle. It was huge for me in terms of my growth and the people that I met. We talked about them, Ray Sabone and Papa Tommy, Andy Getch, you, Bruce, all these
Yeah.
folks that I've met from from the whole thing. It's
So who started the circle?
well, we started it as a okay. There were the original hosts. Again, it was Andy Getch, Ray Sabone, myself, and I believe Tom Treffy, Papa Tommy. We rotated as hosts, and again, the idea was to offer songwriters a place to come.
Right.
And sit and work on the craft with help from other people. And I just, I just remember I had written 3 songs in 35 years. And
Yeah.
one I didn't even want to admit to, So.
Oh, I've got a few of those, from the early days.
Yes. So the idea of writing songs was tough. It was tough. And then, first we would just come together and would play songs that we'd written, and then challenges. And the challenges was again, for me it was huge, because some of my best songs, my favorite songs that I like the most, came as a result of challenges that were issued.
That sounds like a segue into what's that song, your loner song, about
Loner song?
the one about being alone.
Oh, well, yeah, that's called the Off the Beaten Path.
Off the Beaten Path.
Yeah.
You want to play that for us?
Sure. So that one, the thing about this one is that I have to say that the way it came about as the challenge was I put a line in a basket. The line was I don't remember what the line was, but I threw a line in the basket, and it was one of the lines that's in the song. And whoever was there could write down lines and throw them in the basket, and then we'd all get them. I'd compile them, get all the lines to everybody else, and you use the lines and anything else to create a song.
And was there like a theme about it?
Yeah, the theme was about isolation, being off the beaten path, somehow. And that's what
which we've been doing the last year.
Oh yeah. But see, the thing is, I do it before. I would before the whole COVID thing, and I still do. I disappear. I don't want to hear I don't want to hear anybody. And I'll be gone for a couple of weeks. And fortunately, the people who know me well now understand that I will disappear. I just won't talk to them. I won't.
It's interesting you say that, and I understand it too. I like my alone time. But this last year was a bit of a test for a lot of us.
Yes.
I think
It was.
If you're fortunate, it was an introspective time to look back at your life and also to understand what's valuable to you.
Yeah.
And then you realize that even though you like your alone time,
Yeah.
this kind of interaction is really important.
Teaching. I missed teaching. I realized that I need to be out in front of people teaching somehow, giving in that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, off the beaten path. Oh, so Ken Crosby. The lines that are included in here came from Ken Crosby and Bruce Gallant.
Okay.
Along as myself.
So co-write.
Yes. Where I'm hiding, you won't find me, 'cause I'm staying off the beaten path. I'm not lonely, just alone, won't answer the door or the telephone. This peace of mind, I'm gonna make it last. I don't want to hear from nobody, watch TV or read the news. Everything I see or hear just gives me the blues. So where I'm hiding, you won't find me, 'cause I'm staying off the beaten path. An instrumental. There you go. Yeah, I know it's a long instrumental, but I like it. I ain't got no lovers, no dog to walk, got nobody to invade my privacy. I ain't asking for it, time to favor, don't ask for mine. I'm gonna spend some precious moments just on me. You know it ain't that bad playing solitaire. I ain't got no worries, got no cares. I ain't got no plans. I ain't going nowhere. Where I'm hiding, you won't find me, 'cause I'm staying off the beaten path.
Nice.
Thanks.
So now this song you started with the lyrics, I assume. Because you did the lyrics.
Right, yes, that's exactly.
In your songwriting process, is that typical for you, or?
No, I don't think I have a songwriting process that's typical, and it's sometimes it's been a few times that I just woke up and had a song.
Mm-hmm.
You just and furiously write down, and melody, everything just all came. Other times it's something that I get in these moments where for a long time something will be a theme. I'll be thinking about it. Like getting old was one for a long time.
Yeah, right, right.
That kind of thing. So I will think about it. I will write. I write every day, and I don't always write for songs, but I write something every day. And there was a long period of time when I was writing about, thinking about isolation. That whole thing. When I realized that I did it, I started thinking about isolating, and why do I do that? What do I need? What's it for? Is it good? Is it bad? Do I need to feel guilty?
Right, yeah,
all that stuff. So,
right. Am I turning into a hermit? Am I gonna grow a long beard to live in a cave somewhere? Does
everybody hate me? Because all of a sudden, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So there have been a bunch of themes about relationships, about what happens, emotional wheels. I wrote the song "Get Off the Wheel," and I started thinking about that emotion. I got on this emotional wheel because of a phone call. That's what happened. All of a sudden I'm doing this in my head, and I'm go, and I sit and I started thinking about it, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, let's think about this." And writing a song helps. It helps a lot.
And I know there's some traps too, because I find sometimes if I come up with a interesting guitar bit that I want to add into it, but sometimes your first instinct is just to have the melody follow the guitar,
right?
Which can be pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a crutch you can get into. It's hard to break away, and sometimes you come up with a melody and it's kind of hard to find a guitar piece that's interesting that now is in that in that block.
Right.
So that song you're playing, that's in G flat.
That's in G.
And you're using an E form on that?
Yep. So I don't think I answered your question.
Okay.
So what'll happen is sometimes a song will come together, a line, and a little bit of a chord thing with a melody, and that's it. And then all of a sudden I'll think another line, and a chord and piece of the melody will follow that. So it gets built a line at a time. Chord and melody all at the same time, a line at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other times I'll write it out. I'll have a poem that I write out, and I'll say, okay, let's make it into a song. And I'll read it a bunch of times. This is one of the things, if I do it that way, I get the lyrics, I will read it and read it and read it and read it and think about it and read it, and then all of a sudden a feel will come. And I'll say, okay, that's the feel. I know I'm going to be doing it in a lilting way, or I'm going to be doing it in a banging way. Or whatever else.
Try to make the theme, the feeling of the song match the story that's behind it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, a happy blues song.
Exactly.
That kind of
right. Exactly.
Yeah, but I think you're probably, I'm guessing that, and as I go through this, probably finding a lot of different stories. But I don't know of anybody that has they say they're going to write a song, and they sit down and they go through ABC every time.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a professional Nashville kind of songwriter, you have your formula, you pop it in.
Right.
Most people I know, and like you said, I've got 3 or 4 songs in my head that will sit there and roll around for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, I'll sit down and write a song, and it'll be something completely different.
Yes.
Just off the top of my head, or one of those that should come to fruition. You never really know.
It's funny, I got the challenge to write a song about Florida, and ended up being about the Berkshires. I couldn't do it. Ended up being about the Berkshires.
Yeah.
But that's the way it works. I think now conversation with Death is like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, maybe 5:30, maybe even longer. But which is what we were talking about.
So did you start this as a poem or a story?
No. What did you know Tommy Powell? No, you probably did.
No, I did not. No.
Right. Now Tommy Powell, going back to Nita's Sweet Bean Cafe,
right?
And just some of the people that came out. Tommy Powell was this. I can't describe him. This is a wonderful human being.
I've heard you cover one of his songs.
Yes. just absolutely wonderful human being. Kind of person. This is the visions that I have of him. I'd go into Nita's Sweet Bean Cafe, and it's, you know, dark, smoky coffee house, not smoky, but, you know, coffee house kind of atmosphere.
Right.
And you'd walk in the door, and there would be one table that just seemed to be brighter than the other tables. Tommy would be at that table.
Oh.
And everybody would be standing around and just listening to him. There'd be people just standing, people sitting, but everybody would be just listening to Tommy while he was talking. And it's just the way he was.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought the man was wonderful, and you know, he was amazingly encouraging to me, and my sense of confidence as a songwriter, as a guitar player, singer, a lot of it came as a result of him telling me things, and Nita and other folks, but I just really respected him. And when he died, I was angry. I mean, I really was.
Okay.
I hadn't, it was just one of those people that I just had not gotten enough time with.
Yeah.
I was really just beginning to soak in his character, and I was angry, and I started thinking about it, and so I sat down and I was writing a letter to death. I was saying, you know, hey, so what's going on with this foolishness, this whole death thing? What, you know, why him?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing, and that's where the conversation with death came from.
Interesting.
It was just, and then it went through a whole bunch of emotionally iterations in terms of the how I was playing it.
You know, I you can really hear that because it's a long song, as you said, but it's very lyrically complex. You know, there's so much going on in that song and the story of that song.
Came from the songwriter circle. The songwriting, one of the thoughts, and it's something I made sure I did with this particular song, was to include senses, smell, taste, touch.
Right.
In you know, that will bring those things out of people and make people see things, hear things, smell things. So I did that with this particular song, and all the time thinking, really trying to find my own way of processing the fact that someone, that I was angry. I mean, I truly was angry with that.
Interesting. Yeah. Again, I think in any kind of writing, not just songwriting, but that's a way to kind of create, I guess, empathy with people, to put them in that situation, and by helping them experience it.
Mhm.
And it's little things, even though, you know, like you're singing about death, and maybe you don't want to associate that with a sense, because it's an unpleasant kind of, you know, thought.
Well, that depends. That depends, because I think what came to me, I mean, there's so many times when that happens. Some people will think of something as being dark, and I look at it and I say, no, that's not necessarily the way it is. You know, and that's kind of also what came out of, you know, we are all going to pass. We're all going to pass, and I got to the point where you know, and I thought about it, and it wasn't, this song took years for me, at least a couple of years for me to actually get it all together and do it the way I wanted to. I did it once at a songwriter, one of the songwriting big rounds songwriters that we did for the ACMA, and invited people in. Do you know what I'm talking about? Songwriters in the round, and it was the whole room was just emptied out, and we had a big circle of all songwriters, and people could come in, they sat in the audience, and we just went around and did it that way, all people who had been involved in the songwriting circle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was kind of a songwriting circle show.
Yes.
Kind of a showcase. Yeah, I think I remember that, but I don't think I was around or something.
The first time I did it there, it was very different than what it ended up being.
Oh, right.
You know, what it ended up coming out to be. But yeah, it's one of my most, because when I say favorite, it's a matter of songs like that. There are certain songs that I wrote for me. I needed to be able to open myself up and let something fall out onto the floor, because I needed the release, and I needed to empty.
It's cheaper than a therapist.
Yes, exactly. So that's, you know, Conversation with Death is one of those songs.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay.
And this is really, well, I got a lot of favorite Bill songs, but this is one of my favorite Bill songs.
Thank you.
And so this is capoless, huh?
Yep, capoless. In V minor. was a hot summer day on a long dusty road. I was on the way to see my daddy. He has lived all alone down on Purgatory Road since the day that my mama passed away. But something seems amiss, I can't tell what it is, but the chill in this hot summer air don't seem right. So I turn around to see what the trouble might be. I find myself staring death right in the eye. Her eyes burned like fire, voice like a cool mountain stream, and the air smelled of sweet fertile ground. I fell down on my knees, gave out a primal scream, 'cause I know that's where my body's bound. There was nowhere to hide. Why me? Why now? I cried. I want to say I love you to my children one time more. Let me do one more good deed, or maybe just plant a seed before you leave me all alone at death's door. She said, I know that you think that I am evil, and you don't understand the things that I do, but of this have no doubt. It ain't me you need worry about. It's time and it's fate coming to get you. Then she said, honey, don't you worry now. Your time here is not yet done. I can't say more than that, but this I will confide. Oh, then that woman death leaned in close, I could feel her breath. She said, fear is your enemy, let love be your guide. Let love be your guide. Then she touched me. It wasn't cold like I thought it'd be, but filled me with a peace of mind I could not believe. I closed my eyes, took in the feeling, the whole world started reeling. When I opened my eyes, it was a cool summer's eve. My mind was all hazy, I thought I was going crazy. I ran to my daddy's house filled with an unexplainable joy. There he was standing at the door, and he said, boy, what you so late for? I cried on my daddy's shoulder like a little boy. I don't know how, and I don't know why. Lord knows that I don't know when I will find myself naked and alone at death's door. But this I can say, since my talk with death that day, I am not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. I am not afraid anymore. With love as my guide, the good Lord at my side, I am not afraid anymore.
Beautiful, Bill.
Thank
Really,
you.
really nice song.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, so I know you're also been very active with the Hope by Song. I would be remiss if I didn't give it a little chance to promote that as well.
Thanks. That grew out of the songwriting circle too. Again, thinking in terms of trying to touch the community with what we were doing, and we accidentally stumbled upon this thing called, there's another similar program in Nashville that works with specifically with children in hospitals.
All right.
And it's called Sing Me a Story. Great, and it's a great program. I actually wrote a song for them. And we said, okay, let's build on that. And so we ended up going in the direction of mean, I know the power of words and music. And I know you do, and so many folks out there do as well. The idea of my song, my words being put on paper and then created into a song like that one, I find it very healing. So we thought we could do that for other people, and we ended up. First, we started working with the ACT shelter, working with women and families who were dealing with the domestic violence and the sexual abuse, encouraging them to write. And we took them, made them into songs, and it was so powerful.
Yeah.
That we just said, okay, we have to continue this, and we took it into the addiction area, homeless, mental health areas, wherever.
It's really very interesting because I think that one thing is that to a lot of people, the idea of writing a song is something that is completely foreign to them. They can't imagine how you could possibly do that. It's like a giant mystery. But if you can write a song, and I think anybody can with reasonable skills, it can be a very powerful tool.
Seriously.
It can tell a lot of stories like your death song. I mean, I'm now at the point my dad's nearing the end of his journey. There's a smattering of medical people, and the last interview I did was with Gene. Medical people seem to have a very matter-of-fact view of death. You know what I mean? They try to avoid it, try to fix you, but the reality is, like you say, that's our journey.
Yeah.
That journey comes to an end for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's a beauty in that.
There is. It's something freeing about looking at it, saying, okay, it's there.
Right.
So you
it makes you appreciate the time you have.
Yes.
And I think to be able to use the time you have to help other people so that they can enjoy the time they have is probably one of the greatest gifts you can give to somebody.
So yeah, it's true. I think all we have is time. We have nothing but time. That's all. In the end, that's all we have.
Yep.
And
so speaking of the end of journeys, I think that's probably a good segue to end this conversation with William Metz. Just a reminder that this is put on by the ACMA, the Americana Community Music Association. Now on Sundays at the All Faiths Church, you can attend this songwriting circle. And if you're just thinking about it, and you want to learn how to write a song, this circle is for you because there's people there who will show you the path. So.
Yeah. It's an ACMA, great organization.
Yeah. So thanks again for Bill Metz.